Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. Today I'm making this video based on a request from one of my viewers, which I appreciate, and that is to give an update on my 2024 GMC Sierra 2500 HD. This is the SLT trim level, and I wanted to give that update and tell everybody what my thoughts are. Am I happy that I bought this truck? Yeah, I am. I'm actually completely satisfied with the truck overall. I haven't had any true mechanical problems with it. The only problem I had was when I first bought it, it had a sound that basically, a lot of you may not know what this means, but it sounded like supercharger whine, kind of just a high-pitched sound that I knew wasn't supposed to be there because obviously it's turbocharged and not supercharged. The problem turned out to be, which by the way did not have any effect on how the truck ran, it was just a sound. It turned out that it had an exhaust leak. You could actually see the marks on the catalytic converters. So I took it to the dealership and had that taken care of. Other than that, there have been really no mechanical problems whatsoever. I did have to take it in for a recall for the trailer brake control, and that's located basically where the spare tire is, kind of between that and the bed. So they had to take that apart and fix that. But intermittently, the trailer brake controller was going out when people were towing. I never had that problem with this truck, so I didn't have to worry about that. But I did go ahead and take care of that anyway. The paint has held up great. The only downside to having this truck is that it does not fit in my garage. And the length is one thing, but the height is the biggest problem. The opening to my garage is 78 inches and this truck sits at 82 inches. One thing that's been very interesting is that when it's been cold enough and damp enough outside, maybe a little bit of moisture, is that I will actually get a warning about my front camera being blocked. I thought that was very interesting to have. So that's been an interesting thing. And something else that I've never seen before, and I don't know if this is a sign that I'm getting older or what, but I've actually had a couple of times where I guess I turned my blinker on and forgot to turn it off. This has only happened 2 times so far, but I will actually get an indicator, a message on the dashboard right there on the instrument cluster telling me that I need to turn my blinker off. So that's kind of funny. Now, one other thing I do want to cover here is diesel exhaust fluid. Now, I don't drive a ridiculous amount compared to a lot of you, at least around town, because of the fact that we don't live in a huge city here in Northwest Louisiana. I have a little over 6,000 miles on this truck since buying it back in May, and I've only had to fill it with diesel exhaust fluid twice. Not a big deal. Now, you will find when you tow that you have to fill it more often. One of my favorite things here has been the use of the multi-pro tailgate. I've used it a couple of different ways. One time I had to haul something and it was just easier to actually drive with this section open and let what I was hauling just kind of stick out this way. I didn't want it sitting up quite as high. It just seemed to ride better that way. And I've also been able to take full advantage of something else, and some of you may or may not know about this, but something that I like a lot. The size of this truck definitely means you have a lot larger bed. I like lowering that area right there so that I can gain access to the bed without actually having to hop inside, especially when it's something that I need to get to in this area in the rear as opposed to further forward with the front. And if you're curious about my MPGs, well, there's what we have, 11.7 miles per gallon. Now, I do tend to have a heavy right foot, so I'm on the fuel pedal pretty aggressively on a regular basis, and this is how I have my dashboard set up. The one thing that would be a con to having these trucks, and it's fixable, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. The easiest way is to just buy a USB to 12 volt adapter, but it's the fact that these trucks do not have, any of the Sierras, the modern day Sierras, don't have 12 volt power outlets, which is really strange to me. I'm not sure why GMC did that, but I needed to be able to run my dash cam, and so I did go and buy a USB to 12 volt power outlet. I know for some people you might say, man, I just don't want to give up that USB port right there, and for me it works out just fine. One thing that also is very interesting to me is how quickly the ventilated seats cool off or how quickly the heated seats heat up. I like that. And I have reviewed BMWs that cost a lot more than this truck did that do not have something that this truck has, and that is a cooled wireless charging pad. When I put my phone on here, especially when it's cooler outside, it's funny to pick the thing up and see how cold it actually is. But I really have to say, those are the only things. The one thing is that 12-volt power outlet not being here. But on the positive side of things, I have really enjoyed all of the space, especially this in-seat storage that I have on both seats. I take full advantage of that. It's nice because if you stop and think about it, if I didn't have this space right here, then I would have to put my jumper cables somewhere else, maybe in the rear seat pockets, and I really don't want to do that because you'd be able to see them. And I don't keep anything in this truck at night where anybody can see it and come potentially steal it. I know some people might say, well, what about the dash cam? Well, hopefully that would just never be an issue, but I do also keep my truck locked at all times and also take full advantage of the space underneath the seats. Yes, I keep my tripods there because of what I do for a living here. But at the end of the day, I have zero regrets of buying this truck. I am really happy that I did. And I want to say a special thanks and give a thumbs up to all of you who watch my videos regularly, because you're the ones that made it possible for me to buy this truck. For those of you that don't know, this is what I do for a living. It's my full-time job, making YouTube videos. So I hope that helps to answer the question of my thoughts on this truck, giving an update. If there's something particular that I didn't cover, please ask down in the comments section. I do want to say a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to take the time to watch and give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button. That's very helpful to me. Make sure to subscribe. That way you don't miss any future videos. And if you think this video will be helpful to somebody, share it on your timelines on social media. If you'd like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.